Come on. Come on, puppies. In the first 12 weeks of a puppy's life, you are endowed with an almost magical ability to shape his future. During this brief window, it takes only the lightest touch to make a permanent impression on your puppy. And you have the power to change the outcome of his life by what you choose to teach him in these first 12 weeks. I'm a professional dog trainer and author, and I breed bull terriers. I'm lucky enough to travel around the world presenting seminars on dog training and behavior, with a focus on dogs that are particularly difficult to train. I've done a fair amount of rescue, and I've spent hundreds of hours mentoring my new puppy owners. And over the years, I've come to realize something. Much of what people consider problematic in their adult dogs, from aggression right down to lack of focus in a performance dog, often comes down to a failure or omission in the first 12 weeks of a dog's life. This film is dedicated to bringing to light the huge opportunity we have as breeders and puppy owners to improve outcomes for dogs and their people by doing just the right thing at just the right time in the critical first 12 weeks of the puppy's life. If you have an older puppy, don't despair. Much of the exercises we show in this film can and should be done with an older puppy or dog, and you'll still get very good results. The point of this film is not that you can't get good results with an older puppy or dog, but that it's going to take a lot more time and effort, and that the very best results, the absolute optimum for any puppy, is to start when the puppy's under 12 weeks old. Daphne and Floyd are having puppies. And you're about to go on a journey with the puppies through the first 12 weeks of their life. We've done our job to ensure that the genetic material the puppies will be born with will have every chance of being excellent. But that's only the beginning.
Hi, Piggy. What you doing?
Genes, which people often think of as written in stone, can switch on and off or change depending on environmental input. Thus, it's possible for some genes to express themselves as an extremely negative trait or an extremely positive trait, depending on the nutrition and treatment the mother and her offspring receive during pregnancy and the first few weeks of life. The emotional and physical health of a mother will affect the ultimate personality and health of her children. Prenatal stress can significantly influence the brain development and behavior of the puppies. Puppies from stressed mothers can have more difficulty recovering from stress as adults, and they can have decreased learning and memory compared to puppies from non-stressed mothers. So, our first concern is to make sure our mother dog is relaxed, well-fed, and comfortable. If you stroke a pregnant bitch's side late in her pregnancy, the puppies will respond to your touch. Research shows that mother dogs who receive caressing and affection during their pregnancy will give birth to more docile puppies, and those puppies may enjoy being touched more than puppies from mothers who did not receive this kind of affection. So, in some ways, the puppy's predisposition to form deep and meaningful relationships begins before they're even born. Daphne. Well, you might think of a dog having puppies as the most natural thing in the world. Come here. There's always risk. Having a relationship with a good veterinarian at a well-equipped hospital is key to optimizing outcomes for mother dogs and their puppies. We're fortunate to have an exceptional veterinarian right in our small town.
Hello, baby. Hello, baby. I know.
Okay, we'll see you in a little while.
See you in a couple minutes. Come on, babe.
Dr. Kenneth Leal is an excellent surgeon who's very experienced in canine reproduction. He's an expert on the safe use of anesthesia for surgery and has lectured internationally on anesthesia drugs. He's performed hundreds of cesarean sections, so we know Daphne's in good hands should surgical intervention be required.
The more information we have, the more accurate information we have, the easier it is for us to intervene whenever there is a problem. And we have much more specific criteria to use to know at what point, for instance, to do a C-section, or at what point, for instance, we need to give them specific drugs to use. At what point that said, you know what? We're not sure, let's use an ultrasound machine to tell what's going on inside with that particular puppy. And we can actually look at the heart rates of the puppies, and that gives a little bit more of a criteria. We know that the gestation period for dogs is approximately 63 days. In Daphne's case, we had already confirmed that she was pregnant earlier on during the gestation period. And that just gives us, just knowing that information, on how to treat the dog nutritionally, on how to plan to make sure we have discussions with our veterinarian to make sure that they're going to be on alert that we're going to have puppies and they may need to be available. Now that we're at the end of the gestation, we're taking an x-ray to confirm how many puppies are actually in there. And that helps us a number of ways. For instance, if there's only one puppy, that one puppy has a much better chance of increasing in size, perhaps causing more difficult labor. If we have that information, we can better prepare to know when we need to do a C-section perhaps, or if we need to have some sort of an intervention. If there's 10 puppies, we know that after 8 puppies, and we said, oh good, she's had 8 puppies, doesn't look like she has any more. But if we know that there's 10 puppies in there, and they're not coming out, over the next couple hours, then we know that we may need to have somebody have an intervention to get those puppies out, or at least give some sort of medical attention to them to help try and get the live puppies out. I think as a pet owner of the breeding dog, the less surprises you have, the better outcome you're going to have for one is a completely healthy litter of puppies as well as a healthy mother at the end. Mark, what's your guess?
5.
Victoria thinks 6.
I guess 7.
Ooh, there's a lot in there.
One here. One here. My guess is really within the next day or 2.
You know, we hope that she whelps, and if she does, we're looking for at least 7
Well, the fact that
puppies.
there's 7 in there, they shouldn't be huge. So
Right.
they should be a more reasonable size, so she should be able to have them on her own. That's my prediction, that you do not have to disturb me on Christmas Day. Thank you.
Okay, come on, Daphne, you're gonna go home. Why do you have 2 collars on? You're fancy.
Because I'm trying to advertise my hospital.
Oh, okay. But it won't be for long now. You're almost ready. You're almost ready, yes. Daphne had 7 gorgeous puppies. The feeling of love and protectiveness we have for these little babies is enormous, and that's a good thing because they need us to survive. Dogs are what's known as an altricial species, meaning to say their young are born before they're fully developed, which makes the offspring helpless and dependent on their parents. This is in contrast to precocial species, such as horses and geese, where the young can stand, move around, and eat on their own within hours of birth. Far from being able to stand and eat on their own, crucial parts of the puppy's bodies are not even functional when they're born. Their eyes and ears are so unformed that light and sound would cause them permanent damage. The babies are born with their ears and eyes sealed shut to protect them. It will take the puppies months to develop the capabilities that a foal or a gosling has only hours after birth. There's a huge social significance to this. Precocial species are perfectly able to wander off and potentially meet something dangerous almost as soon as they're born. It's essential to their survival, therefore, that they imprint very quickly on their mother and distrust and fear anything else they meet after the first few hours of life. With precocial species, it's usually next to impossible to change this imprinting, no matter how much training and counter-conditioning is applied. In contrast, altricial species have no ability to wander away until several weeks or even months after birth, so they'll always be under the protection of a parent during that period. They don't develop fear until later. Fear would be a useless response for them, as they can't run away or fight. They have a longer, more flexible period in which they form social attachments, and, especially in the case of domesticated animals, they can remain somewhat flexible throughout their lives. We call this process socialization, and it forms the basis of our ability to bond with dogs. Even in altricial species, however, there is a critical socialization period which predictably ends when the animal reaches its full ability to run away and/or defend itself from danger. After that time, altricial species will also mistrust and fear novel animals and situations, although, as mentioned, there can be some flexibility, especially in domesticated animals. Dogs are social animals, and they use a wide range of vocalizations to facilitate their interactions with others. Neonatal puppies don't yet have the physical and mental ability to interact or be social, so they don't need a wide range of vocalizations. For now, the only sounds the puppies make are what are known as epimeletic sounds, meaning to say, sounds which induce adults to care for them. Interestingly, the bitch seems to recognize that although the puppies can make sounds, they can't see or hear her, so she does not attempt to vocalize to them. If she needs to communicate with them, she nuzzles or touches them. They can't urinate or defecate on their own. The bitch licks them, which stimulates them to go. The bitch has a strong instinct to keep the den clean, and the way she does that is to eat the poop. Now, you may find that odd and kind of revolting that she eats the puppy's poop, but you love a bitch that has a good instinct to keep her puppies clean. Because if she doesn't, then you're stuck cleaning puppy butts, not with your tongue, but it's not a pleasant task, and it takes a lot of time. The puppies are born without the ability to regulate their body temperature. A normal adult dog has a body temperature of between 100 and 101 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas a newborn puppy's body temperature is only between 94 and 97. A puppy needs an external heat source or he'll chill and die. The puppies either have to lie next to their mother or, if she's not available, pile on top of each other so they can use each other's body heat to stay warm. The first few days of raising a litter is crazy.
Daphne, come.
I'm not saying this is every breed, but Bull Terrier mothers maybe aren't the best. At the end of the first 72 hours, you haven't slept, the puppies are hungry, your bitch is either standing in their box bowling the puppies around like bowling pins, or she's lying in the bed that you set up for yourself next to the whelping box, and when you suggest to her that perhaps she might like to get up and take care of her puppies, she just closes her eyes tighter shut and waits for you to do something. You basically want to kill yourself at the end of 72 hours, and you swear you're never going to do it again, but you always do. They can't walk, but they get where they need to go by pulling themselves along with their front legs. They also tip over a lot, but fortunately they have a reflex to right themselves. Their navigation system consists of a rooting reflex coupled with specialized heat sensors alongside their nostrils. When they're nursing, the rooting reflex causes them to move their head in little circles until they come in contact with the teat. If they get separated from their mother and litter mates, the rooting reflex makes them swing their head from side to side until their heat sensors pick up some warmth, and then they pull forward toward the heat source. You can see the exact second this puppy's heat sensors pick up his litter mates. Neonatal puppies really are heat-seeking milk missiles. The puppies are little milking machines. You can tell this puppy has good suction on the teat by the little pit on the side of his face. When the puppies first get on the teats, the milk doesn't flow quickly, and they have to work hard and they complain a lot. After a few minutes, however, the bitch's milk comes down, and the puppies become almost silent and move very little. The milk the bitch produces for the first 24 hours is called colostrum, and its principal function is to pass maternal antibodies on to the puppies. Whatever disease the dam has immunity to, the puppies, once they absorb the colostrum, will have immunity to as well. These maternal antibodies wear off after just a few weeks, but at least the puppy's protected in the fragile beginnings of his life, when he's most vulnerable. There's only a very short window in which the puppy can absorb the colostrum. At birth, a puppy's intestines are open in a way that allows the colostrum molecules to pass through without being broken down. Within 18 hours, however, the puppy's intestinal wall closes and the colostrum molecules can no longer pass through whole. They're broken down, digested, and can no longer grant immunity to the puppy. So there's this very short window of time, probably only 12 to 18 hours after birth, where both the bitch produces the colostrum and the puppy can absorb it. Even if the bitch made colostrum for days or weeks, the puppy still can't benefit from it after the first few hours of life. Healthy neonates will eat till they fall asleep and then lie in a contented pile together. They twitch while they sleep. The puppy pile looks like popcorn. This twitching is called activated sleep, and in principle, it works exactly the same way that electrical stimulation works to help human bedridden patients maintain muscle. Like bedridden patients, puppies spend so much time sleeping that it would be difficult for them to build enough muscle to ever stand on their feet. The puppy's brains send out small electrical impulses which stimulate their muscles and build them. These tiny pulses of electricity are what cause the puppy to twitch and pop. Activated sleep is fun to watch and also a key indication that the puppies are healthy and doing well. This is going to be a constant theme of this DVD, which is that stress and struggle in appropriate small doses is very good for the puppies, and in fact helps them grow up to be strong, healthy, well-adjusted adults. When you look at the footage of these puppies, you may think, this looks really violent. They're actually launching each other off the teats, but meanwhile, they're also learning to find the teat, gain motor coordination, build muscle, and deal with frustration. The key word here is appropriate stress and struggle. The stress and struggle that you see puppies do when they're nursing is very natural, very good for them. And you really don't need to intervene. You shouldn't intervene. As a breeder, you do have to make sure that everybody is getting milk, which is why you weigh them frequently. And if somebody is a little weaker and not getting as much as the rest and losing ground, you might take that puppy out and help them out with a little extra food. But all things being equal, the struggle that you see here is excellent and very good for the puppies. The first 2 weeks of raising a litter can be a lot of work. Much of the breeder's role during this time is consumed with just keeping everyone clean, fed, and healthy. But this is also the time when the puppy's neurological system is forming, and we can influence the way it forms. Babies invoke the protective instinct in us all, and our natural impulse is to make things as easy as possible for them, and to shield them from anything that upsets them even mildly. However, research on dogs, rats, primates, and even chickens all shows the same thing. Stressing neonates, very slightly, produces beneficial effects on them for the rest of their lives. Protocols for early neurological stimulation of puppies have been popularized in a well-known article by Dr. Carmen Battaglia. Dr. Battaglia breeds German Shepherds. He's an AKC judge and a director of the AKC. He's the author of many books and DVDs on dog breeding, and thousands of breeders follow his website, breedingbetterdogs.com. We spoke with Dr. Battaglia about his recommended protocols and the potential benefits they can confer on the puppies.
Well, what the research shows is during this neonatal period, if you stimulate the neurological system of the puppy, you can change the puppy for the rest of its life. What are the results of early neurological stimulation? Greater tolerance of stress, greater resistance to disease, faster adrenal system, stronger heart rate, and a stronger heartbeat. So if you stimulate the neurological system during this window of time, which as it turns out is between 3 days and 16 days of life, you can change this puppy for the rest of its life. Based on the research of the Biosensor program, there's 5 stimulating exercises. The first one is called tactile stimulation, where we take a Q-tip and we tickle the puppy between any one of its toes. So we do that 3 to 5 seconds. The research shows that kind of stimulation stimulates the tactile system, the skin of the puppy, and it wakes up the neurological system. Now we hold the puppy's head up so that his head's up and his tail's down, and again you would count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're letting blood drain from his brain, and the neurological system would recognize that and tell the heart to pump blood back up into the brain, maintaining equilibrium. The third exercise is to hold the puppy's head down, so his head is down, and we count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now too much blood is running down into the brain. So now we're making the neurological system work in a different way because we presented a different problem. The fourth exercise is called the supine position, where the puppy's simply on his back. And we count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most of them will resist being held on their back, and they will start to move around in your hands. But the neurological system, again, is being challenged and being told to go to work. And the fifth position is thermal stimulation. You take a washcloth, ordinary washcloth, wring it out, put it in your refrigerator for 30 minutes so it's cold.